The trading floor was a battlefield and I was losing. Phones screamed, screens flashed red, and the air choked with panic as the market crashed around me. I stood frozen, my heart pounding, watching my career, my life, dissolve into numbers bleeding off a screen. My name is Maya Carter, 28, a junior analyst at Voss Capital, the most cutthroat hedge fund on Wall Street. I clawed my way here from a small town in Ohio, fueled by grit and a stubborn refusal to fail. But that morning, as the Dow plummeted and my portfolio tanked, I felt failure wrap its cold hands around my throat. Across the chaos, I saw her, Elena Voss, 32, the firm's legendary CEO. They called her the Ruthless Wolf, a name earned through years of carving through markets and competitors with surgical precision. Her green eyes scanned the room like a predator's, and when they landed on me, I braced for the worst. Maya. Her voice cut through the noise, sharp as a blade. My office. Now. I followed, my legs trembling, expecting a firing. Elena's office was a glass fortress atop the skyscraper, all steel and sharp edges like her. She stood by the window, her silhouette framed against the stormy New York skyline, her dark hair pulled into a flawless bun. She didn't turn as I entered, just gestured to a chair. Sit, she said, her tone unreadable. Tell me what happened. I stammered through an explanation, my risky tech bets, the sudden market dive, the millions lost. My voice cracked, betraying the tears I was fighting. I waited for her to tear me apart, to call me reckless, to end me. But she didn't. Instead, she turned, her eyes softer than I'd ever seen. You're not the first to lose big, Maya, she said quietly. And you won't be the last. What matters is what you do next. I blinked, stunned. This was the Ruthless Wolf? The woman who'd once fired an entire team for missing a single earnings call? I don't know what to do, I admitted, my voice barely a whisper. She crossed the room, her heels clicking against the marble floor, and leaned against her desk, closer than I expected. You learn, she said. You adapt. And you don't let fear win. Her words hit me like a lifeline, but the weight of the day still crushed me. I felt my composure crack, tears spilling over. I braced for her to pull back, to dismiss my weakness. Instead, she knelt in front of me, her hand brushing my cheek, wiping away a tear. You're stronger than this, she murmured, her voice low, almost tender. And I'm not letting you fall. That moment shifted something in me. Elena Voss, the untouchable queen of Wall Street, was holding space for my collapse. And in her gaze, I saw not just a boss, but a woman who understood what it meant to carry the weight of ambition, and to stumble under it. Over the next weeks, I threw myself into damage control, working late nights under Elena's guidance. She was relentless, pushing me to analyze data, rethink strategies, and rebuild my confidence. But there was something else too. A current between us, unspoken but electric. Late nights in her office, our shoulders brushing over spreadsheets, her hand lingering on mine as she pointed out a flaw in my calculations. One evening, as rain battered the windows, I caught her staring at me, her guard down. Why are you helping me so much? I asked, my voice barely above the storm outside. She hesitated, her lips parting as if weighing a truth she wasn't ready to share. Because I see you, Maya, she said finally. Not just the analyst. You. My heart raced. I wanted to ask what she meant, to bridge the gap between us, but fear held me back. I'd heard the rumors about Elena, her icy demeanor, her refusal to let anyone close. Yet here she was, offering me a glimpse of something softer, something real. The market stabilized, but my world didn't. I was falling, not for the job, not for success, but for her. And that terrified me more than any trading loss ever could. The office was a ghost town at 2 a.m., the only sounds the hum of computers and the distant wail of a siren far below. I sat at my desk surrounded by empty coffee cups, my eyes burning from hours of staring at market projections. Elena was still here too, her office light a beacon in the dark. I'd been at Voss Capital for 6 months now, clawing my way back from that catastrophic loss. Elena's mentorship had saved me, but it came at a cost. The late nights, the endless pressure, it was wearing me down. And yet I couldn't stay away from her. I knocked on her door, holding a stack of revised reports. She looked up from her laptop, her blouse slightly unbuttoned, a rare crack in her polished armor. Maya, she said, her voice warm but tired. You should go home. I could say the same to you, I replied, setting the reports on her desk. She smirked, leaning back in her chair. Sleep is for the weak. I laughed, but it faded as our eyes met. There it was again, that spark, that pull. I wanted to ask her about it, to name the thing growing between us, but the words caught in my throat. Instead I said, I don't know how you do it. Stay so unbreakable. Her smile faltered, and for a moment she looked almost human. I'm not unbreakable, she said softly. I've just had more practice hiding it. That admission hung in the air, heavy and intimate. I stepped closer, drawn by the vulnerability in her voice. What do you hide, Elena? She stood, closing the distance between us. More than you'd think, she whispered, her breath brushing my cheek. For a heartbeat I thought she might kiss me. But then she stepped back, her walls snapping back into place. Get some rest, Maya. We've got a big day tomorrow. I left her office, my heart pounding, my mind a tangle of questions. Was I imagining this connection? Or was the ruthless wolf letting me see a side of her no one else did? The next day the office buzzed with rumors. A rival firm, Titan Investments, was circling, looking to poach talent and clients. Elena was in war mode, her commands sharp, her presence commanding. But when she caught my eye across the trading floor, there was a flicker of something softer, a silent check-in. That night, she invited me to a client dinner at a sleek Manhattan restaurant. I wore a simple black dress, feeling out of place among the city's elite. Elena, in a tailored crimson gown, was magnetic, charming clients with ease. But her attention kept drifting to me, her gaze lingering longer than necessary. After the clients left, we stayed, sharing a bottle of wine. The conversation turned personal, unguarded. She told me about her childhood in Brooklyn, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs. I learned early that weakness isn't an option, she said, swirling her glass. You fight or you disappear. I reached for her hand, my fingers brushing hers. You don't have to fight alone, I said, my voice trembling with the weight of what I was admitting. Her eyes searched mine, and for a moment I thought she'd pull away. But she didn't. She squeezed my hand, her touch grounding me. You make it hard to keep my walls up, Maya, she said, almost too quiet to hear. The walk back to her apartment was a blur of city lights and rain-slicked streets. She invited me up, and I said yes, knowing we were crossing a line we couldn't uncross. Her apartment was stark, modern, but there were touches of warmth. A worn poetry book on the coffee table, a photo of her mother. We stood by her floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawling below us. I've never let anyone this close, she admitted, her voice raw. Not like this. I touched her cheek, my thumb tracing the line of her jaw. Then let me, I whispered. When she kissed me, it was like the world stopped. Her lips were soft but urgent, her hands pulling me close as if I were the only thing keeping her steady. In that moment I knew I was in love with her, and that love would break my heart or save it. The morning after our kiss, I woke in Elena's apartment, her arm draped over me. The city hummed outside, but in her bed, it felt like we'd carved out a world of our own. She stirred, her green eyes meeting mine, and smiled. A real unguarded smile that made my chest ache. But reality crashed in fast. At the office, Titan's poaching attempts had escalated. They'd leaked a story to the press, painting Elena as a ruthless tyrant who crushed her team's spirits. The trading floor was tense, whispers following her every move. I saw the toll it took, her jaw tight, her shoulders rigid, but she never wavered. Maya, focus, she snapped during a strategy meeting, her tone sharper than I'd heard in weeks. I flinched, but I understood. She was fighting for her empire, and I was part of it now. After hours, she found me at my desk. I'm sorry, she said, her voice softer. I didn't mean to. It's okay, I interrupted, standing to meet her gaze. I know what's at stake. She pulled me into her office, closing the door. It's not just the firm, she said, her hands gripping mine. It's you. I can't lose you to this. Her words hit me hard. I'd spent my life proving I could stand on my own, but with Elena I wanted to be part of something bigger, us. I kissed her, fierce and desperate, and she kissed me back with the same intensity, like we could hold the world at bay. But the world wouldn't stay out. The next day I overheard a colleague, Mark, sneering about Elena. She's slipping, he said, too distracted by her new pet. He meant me. The words stung, but worse was the doubt they planted. Was I a liability? I confronted Elena that night, my voice shaking. They're talking about us. They think I'm weakening you. Her eyes flashed with anger, not at me but at the idea. Let them talk, she said. They don't know you. They don't know us. But the rumors grew and so did the pressure. Titan offered me a job. A senior analyst role. More money than I'd ever dreamed of. I didn't want it, but the offer came with a threat. If I didn't join them, they'd leak details of my market loss to discredit Elena's leadership. I told Elena everything, expecting her to pull back, to protect her empire. Instead, she cupped my face, her eyes fierce. They don't get to touch you, she said. Not like this. She devised a plan. We'd counter Titan's smear campaign with transparency, releasing our own report on the market crash and my recovery efforts. It was risky. Exposing my failure could tank my career, but Elena believed in me. We worked through the night, crafting the report. Her hand brushed mine as we edited, her laughter breaking the tension when I spilled coffee on my notes. In those moments I saw the woman beneath the wolf, funny, warm, fiercely protective. The report went live and the response was mixed. Some praised our honesty. Others called it a desperate move. But it bought us time. Elena pulled strings, calling in favors from old allies to shore up client loyalty. I watched her fight, not just for her firm but for me. And I knew I'd never love anyone the way I loved her. One night as we walked through Central Park, the city's chaos fading behind us, she stopped under a street lamp. Maya, she said, her voice trembling. I've built my life on control. But with you I don't want to control anything. I just want you. I kissed her, rain starting to fall, and whispered, You have me. But Titan wasn't done. The next morning, an anonymous email hit every inbox at Voss Capital, outing our relationship with vicious lies. The trading floor went silent as I walked in, eyes on me judging. Elena stood at the front, her face unreadable, but I saw the hurt in her eyes. This wasn't just a fight for her empire anymore. It was a fight for us. The email was a gut punch. It didn't just expose our relationship. It twisted it, calling me a gold digger, Elena a predator. The words burned into my mind, but what hurt more was the silence from our colleagues. No one met my eyes as I walked to my desk, the air thick with judgment. Elena called an emergency meeting. She stood at the head of the conference room, her presence commanding despite the storm. This firm is built on trust, she said, her voice steady. If any of you believe those lies, you're free to leave. But if you stay, you fight with me. Most nodded, but I saw the doubt in their faces. Mark, the loudest critic, smirked from the back. I wanted to scream to defend us, but Elena's hand on my shoulder stopped me. Not now, she whispered. We'll handle this. She was right, but the weight of it all was crushing me. That night in her apartment I broke. What if they're right? I said, tears streaming. What if I'm ruining you? Elena knelt in front of me, her hands framing my face. You're not ruining me, she said fiercely. You're saving me. I was cold, empty before you. You make me feel alive. Her words pulled me back from the edge, but the fight wasn't over. Tighten up the ante, leaking doctored financial records suggesting Elena had mishandled funds. The press ate it up, and regulators started circling. Elena worked around the clock, her face drawn, but she never shut me out. One evening she handed me a folder. This is everything, she said. Every deal, every trade. If they want a war, we'll give them one. I pored over the documents, my analyst brain kicking in. I found discrepancies, not in Elena's records but in Titan's. They'd been manipulating data to frame her. I showed Elena, and for the first time in days she smiled. You're brilliant, she said, kissing me softly. We built a case working with a small team of loyal colleagues. The hours were brutal, but every late night, every shared glance deepened our bond. I learned her quirks, how she hummed jazz when stressed, how she'd sneak me coffee with exactly 2 sugars. She learned mine, my habit of chewing pins, my love for cheesy rom-coms. But the pressure was relentless. At a board meeting, Mark openly challenged Elena's leadership, citing our relationship as a distraction. I felt the room turn against us and my stomach twisted. Elena stood, her voice ice cold. My personal life is not your business, she said. But my results are. And they speak for themselves. She was magnificent, but I saw the cost. That night, she collapsed into my arms, her walls crumbling. "I'm tired, Maya," she admitted. "I've fought so long, and now I just want you." I held her, my heart breaking and swelling at once. "We'll get through this," I promised. Together. Our counterattack went live. A detailed exposé of Titan's fraud, backed by evidence. The press shifted, praising Elena's integrity. Clients returned and the regulators backed off. But the victory felt hollow. The rumors about us lingered, and I saw the toll on Elena, her sleepless nights, her forced smiles. One night, she took me to the rooftop of her building, the city glittering below. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice unsteady. "Maybe it's time to step back. To live for something other than this fight." I stared at her, shocked. "You'd leave Voss Capital?" "For you," she said, her eyes locked on mine. "In a heartbeat." I kissed her, tears mixing with rain, knowing we were at a crossroads. We'd won the battle, but the war for our future was just beginning. The victory over Titan should have felt like freedom, but it didn't. The whispers followed us on the trading floor, in boardrooms, in the press. Elena was still the ruthless wolf, but now they painted her as vulnerable, softened by love. It infuriated me, but she shrugged it off. "Let them talk," she said. "They'll never understand." I wanted to believe her, but doubt gnawed at me. I'd come to New York to prove myself, not to be the woman who tamed Elena Voss. Yet every time I looked at her, her fierce eyes, her rare quiet smiles, I knew I'd choose her over any dream. One morning Elena called me to her office. "I'm stepping down," she said, her voice calm but final. "I've named a successor. The firm's in good hands." I gaped at her. "Elena, this is your life. You built this." She took my hands, her touch steady. "I built it to survive," she said. "But you? You make me want to live." Her words broke something open in me. I'd spent so long fighting to be enough, for my family, for Wall Street, for myself. But with Elena I was enough just as I was. We left New York a month later, trading skyscrapers for a small coastal town in Maine. Elena bought a house by the ocean, a place of weathered wood and wide windows, nothing like her sleek Manhattan apartment. We spent our days walking the shore, her hand in mine, the wind carrying away the weight of our past. But the transition wasn't easy. Elena struggled with the quiet, the absence of the adrenaline that had defined her. I found her one night, staring at the sea, her face etched with doubt. "What if I'm nothing without Wall Street?" she asked. I pulled her close, my lips brushing her temple. "You're everything," I said. "To me, you're everything." Slowly, she found her rhythm. She started mentoring young women in business, her sharpness tempered by compassion. I took a job at a local nonprofit, using my skills to help small businesses grow. We built a life not perfect but ours. One evening, under a sky streaked with pink and gold, I proposed. No ring, just a question whispered on the beach. "Marry me, Elena." Her eyes filled with tears and she laughed, a sound so free it made my heart soar. "Yes," she said, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of salt and forever. Our wedding was small, just us and a few friends, the ocean as our witness. I wore a simple white dress, Elena a tailored suit that made her look like she could still conquer the world. As we said our vows, I thought of the girl from Ohio who dreamed of Wall Street, and the woman who'd found something better, love, unyielding and true. Years later we'd sit on our porch, her hand in mine, watching the waves. The world still called her the ruthless wolf, but I knew the truth. She was my Elena, fierce, flawed and endlessly kind. And when I fell apart, she held me like I was all. In that love we found our meaning. Not in power or wealth but in each other, in the quiet moments, in the life we built against all odds.